So we have Erin at Primer talking to us today about flexible working and why Primer is a great place to work. So Erin, would you be able to tell me what your company does in one sentence?
Yeah, for sure. So Primer does a lot of things, but in one sentence, Primer is the first open automation platform for payments, which enables merchants to build out end-to-end payment flows through a unified checkout and workflow.
Awesome. Sounds great. And how would you summarize your working environment?
Well, I would say, we are very autonomous and flexible in our approach to how we work at Primer. We always start with the experience and we build the operations to support that. So we are trying to build a first-class, high-performing team that work in a globally distributed and remote fashion.
Awesome. And if you could pick one word to describe your culture, what word would it be?
One word to describe our culture. I would say our culture is high-performing.
Great. Good word. And what made you switch to flexible working, or were you always quite flexible as a company?
Yeah, so Primer actually was kind of born out of COVID and this remote working culture. I mean, we started the company in January of 2020, so we jumped onto the back of this remote working zeitgeist, I guess. But we really felt like that's ingrained in our culture.
And do you think personally you could ever return to an office-only environment?
No, I don't explicitly think, we could ever return to an office-only environment. And for the reason that we want to maintain absolute flexibility, we are also a globally distributed team. So it would be very difficult, I suppose, to be in one office at one time.
So people can be pretty confident that you're gonna stay flexible.
We're always going to stay flexible, yeah. And that doesn't mean that, working remotely doesn't necessarily mean working from home. We are rolling out our benefits, and part of that is our productivity benefit, which means that we want to be able to provide the opportunity for people to access the best environments for them to do their best work and be the most productive. And so we'll be rolling out access to co-working spaces.
And what's your favorite benefit at Primer?
I think I don't have one favorite benefit. I guess it goes back to this idea of flexible working. We want to be as flexible in everything that we do and provide all the opportunities for people to do their best work. And I think this means that we're really able to be inclusive of, the way that people work and, the environments in which they are the most productive.
Cool. And what do you look for in new hires? What kind of attributes or characteristics?
Yeah, well, we look for a lot of characters and attributes. So, the main thing is that they kind of are going to be a cultural fit or a cultural addition. So they really support, or represent our values across, owning the work that they do, being autonomous. They have a go faster mentality. They are radically transparent, or at least working towards being as radically transparent as possible. And they're also open to feedback.
That all makes sense. And if you could tell your prospective employees one useful piece of advice about applying to Primer, what would you tell them?
Well, I think the most useful piece of advice is do your research. If you're applying for any company, understand what the company does, what their value proposition is, and do your research into the culture and the team and see if it's a place in which, you think you could really thrive. And I think, in terms of Primer, we're really trying to build out our careers page so people get a little bit more insight into, our day-to-day ways of working and also our culture.
Yeah, and that's exactly what this video is aiming to do as well. And then I guess more of a kind of visionary question, but what is your kind of ideal future of work scenario? How would you want everyone to be working in 5 years?
Well, I think, we'd like to maintain the setup that we currently have. I mean, and when I say maintain, I obviously mean develop as well. Like I said, we are globally distributed, remote first. And so we really want to kind of champion that way of working. But a way of working is judged on its ability to deliver on desired outcomes over time. So, that's still TBD. But so far, a year and a half into our journey, this way really works for us. And again, like I said, it allows us to offer ultimate flexibility and create the best environment for people to do their best work.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for answering my questions.